Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thanks for joining me today and pressing play on the video. Today we're going to be making this lovely Christmas card here. I've started my Christmas cards very early this year, not like me at all, but I'm on a real roll with Christmas cards this year. And this one I really love. I love the colours. I love this white, gold and silver colour scheme. I love this reindeer stamp, which is in the Merry Mistletoe stamp set, which I'll show you later on. Just love everything about this card. So let me show you how I made it. I started out with the card blank, which I started out with a piece of card which measured 21 centimetres by 15 or 8 1/4 by 6 if you're working in inches, and scored it in the middle. So I ended up with a card blank that measures 4 1/8 inches by 6 inches or 10 1/2 centimetres by 15 centimetres. You then need a piece of designer pattern paper, designer series paper, and I'm using our beautiful Year of Cheer paper, which has got these beautiful foil snowflakes on it. Absolutely beautiful, really love it, so bright and shiny and gorgeous. And my designer paper measures either all the way around 1/2 centimetre smaller than my card blank or 1/4 inch, so that when you place it on your card blank you've got a very small border all the way around like that. Okay, but when I placed it on it, can you see that just seemed to fade into the card blank? And on the card here, you can see I've got a border around it, which really makes it stand out and makes it nicer. So what I used to do that was our washi tape. So I'm going to show you what I did. I've got one that I've partially started here, so I'm going to use this. Our washi tape comes in, this is the Christmas washi tape, comes in a pack of 5. You get 5 reels of washi tape with about 4.6 meters on each roll, I think. Absolutely beautiful colors, love it. You've got this wide one here with a pattern on it, a gold pattern. Then you've got a thin silver and a thin gold, which are really gorgeous. And then you've got a slightly wider copper, and then slightly wider again, I think, is it? Or maybe the same width, is this mottled effect. So it's got lots of different metallic colours in it, silver, gold, copper, a bit of champagne, I think. Really, really pretty. But we're going to be using the thin gold one today to border our card. So all I did was find the end, which sometimes is easier than it's easier said than done. Find the end. If I start off from this end so you can see what I did. So just place the end at the corner. It can overlap a little bit if you want it to, because you just trim that end off, and just line it up with the edge of the card. And what's really nice is because the washi tape adhesive isn't immediately permanent, if you make a mistake you can lift it and reposition it really easily. So just line it up along the edge of your card like that, and then use your snips to snip it off. And you start getting a border. You can see I've done 3 sides there now, and then you can just snip these ends off when you've done. So that one's got one more side left to do. Snip that off, get rid of those bits off my scissors. And I've got one that I've completely finished. I didn't think you needed to watch me do the whole of the 4 sides on camera. So I've got my panel of DSP, and I've got my card blank. So I'm just going to use some snail to mount that onto there. So which way does my snail go? This way. There we go. So just using a bit of snail, because you don't need too much sticky on this. It's only card sticking on card, so snail will work perfectly. Okay, but because it is snail, it will be permanent, so just make sure you get your panel on straight the first time, otherwise you don't, not like when you're using the Tombow, you don't get any wiggle room with the snail. So there we go. That's on my card blank. Beautiful. So that's the basis for my card, and then obviously we need to mount the reindeer and the greeting. So we're going to stamp and heat emboss both of these in with gold embossing powder. So let me just show you how we do that in case you've not seen. You need a piece of card that's big enough to stamp both things on, plus big enough to hold it away from you, because when we come to heat it, your hand doesn't need to be too close to the embossing. I learned that lesson to my cost one day. Okay, so what we're going to do is, before I emboss, I'm going to use my embossing buddy, which is there. It's a little bag filled with very fine powder, which if you just swoosh it over the card will mean that the embossing will only stick to where you've put the Versamark ink, rather than all over the card where you've put fingerprints and things. So we're using Versamark to stamp, and I'm using the reindeer stamp from the Merry Mistletoe set. Let me show you the set. I love this set. It's got so many elements to it. It's really, really pretty. So we've got the reindeer, which we're using today, beautiful Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a nice Christmas wishes, quite like that one, and the font as well. But we've also got lots of other little elements, little swags, and a Christmas tree and a sprig and some mistletoe, and then another greeting that says wishing you and your loved one a joyful Christmas and a happy new year. So really nice set this. So we're going to use this lovely reindeer. I'm going to stamp it in Versamark with enough room around it so that we can die cut it with one of my die cuts, with one of our ovals. So on there. And then you need to take some gold embossing powder, which comes like this, in a little pot like this. But because it's such a little pot, when you're using it, it's quite tricky to handle it. So I transfer mine into a bigger container like this, so that I can just tip it on whatever it is I'm trying to emboss. And then make sure the image is covered, and then swoosh it back into the box, and that just makes that a lot easier. And can you see I must have missed a little bit because I've got a little bit of embossing powder stuck on there, but you can actually take a very fine paintbrush and just brush that away, and then maybe give it a blow. Just blow it and all little odd specks will come away. We then need to print our sentiment, Merry Christmas, and the Merry Christmas I'm using, because I only wanted it to be quite small, is from the teeny tiny sentiment set, which again I love. Loads and loads of sentiments here, sentiments for every single occasion that you can possibly think of, and the one we're using today is this one here, Merry Christmas, but there are some lovely sentiments there. Really great set, really useful. So I've mounted the Merry Christmas onto a G block, and I'm just going to print that. Don't need to worry too much about it whether it's straight, because I'm going to die cut it in the oval afterwards. So I've just printed that on there, and again pour the embossing powder over the image and tip it off. Oh, there you go, we've got edge there. I think that was where I touched the paper with the ink, so let's just brush that off there. Right, so now we're ready to heat emboss them. It doesn't matter how many times I do this, I'm always amazed at the magic of how this ink changes, this powder changes from this very grainy, dull image into a beautiful shiny one when you apply ink, when you apply heat. So here we go. Just wait for the heat gun to warm up a little bit, and this is where I say you need a big enough card to hold your hand away from the camera. And can you see that's beginning to turn? Can you see? If I turn it in the light, you can see that reindeer now fully embossed. I'm just going to do the same with the Merry Christmas. There we go. And there's our two images done. Okay, so very, very quick, but absolutely magical doing that process. I really love it. And it's so lovely for Christmas cards. So then we need to die cut the reindeer and the Merry Christmas. I've actually already done mine here, because again, I didn't think you needed to watch me using the big shot, but I will show you which dies I used to do these. The stitched shape one for the reindeer is actually the biggest oval in the stitched shapes, so it's this one that I've die cut the reindeer out of, and the little one for the Merry Christmas is actually one of the little dies, the smallest. There's the smallest oval die from the layering ovals. It's this one here that I've die cut, and then as the mats to lay them on, we've got a gold scalloped oval, large one for the reindeer, and a tiny one for the Merry Christmas. And again, there from this set, it's the smallest one and the largest one that we're using from that set. Really useful set, use them all the time. Okay, now because we're sticking onto gold foil, this is not porous, so we need some kind of adhesive that's not going to need to be soaking into the card. So I tend to use tear and tape for this. So you can just tear off a little bit of tape. I tend to stick one right down the middle and then two towards the sides, and that's enough to hold our oval in place. So one there just tear it off, and one over here. If you want to add more tape, you could add another couple of slice pieces down there, but that will probably be enough. And then for the Merry Christmas, really only need one little bit across the middle here, and that will hold that in place. And you'll find this is one of the good ways to adhere this. Just going to use my pokey tool to try and get the backing off the tear and tape. So I haven't got really good enough nails. There we go. So just be careful when you're lining these up. It's surprisingly tricky to line up the ovals so that you get an even border all the way around. So just be very careful. Line it up before you actually finally stick. There we go. And this one, let's take the backing off. So quick and easy, this card, but it's really beautiful. I don't think anyone who received it would believe that it was so quick for you to make. Okay, there we go. And again, check your positioning before you finally stick it down. There we go. So we've got our reindeer and our Merry Christmas. And what I did, so here's my card with my backing already on it. What I did is I stuck my reindeer direct on the card, and I'm going to use the snail again this time, just because I'm not sticking on a non-porous surface, so this will be fine. Although this probably would stick onto the gold, the silver, the foil card as well. And just position that. I tend to do it by eye. I don't need to measure. Is it in the middle? Is it straight? And push. And then last bit for the Merry Christmas, I'm going to use some dimensionals so that the Merry Christmas is just raised up a little bit off the card. So just going to put one there. These are our mini dimensionals, which were introduced in the annual catalogue in June, and which are so useful, because very rarely did you need such a big dimensional as the larger ones. So I use these mini ones all the time now, and of course they last much longer because you get so many more in a pack. There we go. And then I just need to take off the backing, which I might be able to do with my fingernails. There we go. And oh, one more. There we go. Does take a little bit of time if you use lots. There we go. All the backing, and there, ta-da! There's my finished Christmas card. Beautiful, eh? I hope you liked it. I hope you're going to have a go at making one like that. I'm going to be back next time to show you how I made a similar card, but in navy. So this is actually the same DSP. So I'm going to show you how to get that effect and to do it in navy and silver. So we've got a white and gold one and a navy and silver one. Wonder which one you prefer. Please come back next time and watch and see how I made this one. But for watching today, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.